Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Let's Play Warframe. I'm your host of the most, as always, Francois878, and in today's video I'd like to talk to you guys about update 18.12 as well as the new Prime Access Pack that has been released for Vauban Prime, the Stiletto Prime Pistols, and the Fragor Prime Hammer. Now, I know this video is a couple of days late. I know everyone else, all the big Warframe YouTubers already have all their videos out. I've honestly just been distracted with work and haven't had the chance to make this video. But I love Vauban, and I love the Stiletto pistols, and the Fragor is not a bad hammer, honestly. It's not great. I wouldn't, take it out of T4 survival with me, but it's a pretty solid early to mid-range hammer. So I figured I'd bore you all with some chit-chat about this new content. Now, the footage you're seeing in the background is of vanilla Vauban, the Stiletto, and the Fragor. I haven't had the chance to farm them yet or buy the Prime Access Pack, obviously, because I've had work. So I had to make do with what I had. But overall, talking about this new gear from an aesthetic standpoint and a design standpoint, I love them. I think every piece of gear in this, I shouldn't say that. I can say that. I'm sorry. Every piece of usable, of main content, weapons and frame are awesome. They look amazing. The Stiletto Prime pistols are very elegant with the gold trim. Same thing with the Fragor Prime. Vauban Prime's default helmet looks awesome, which is great because I can't stand the vanilla Vauban helmets. I think they all look doofy as hell. The only one I can stand is the Amnesty helmet, which I have on currently, mostly because it kind of makes him look like a scout trooper from Star Wars. So that's really the only helmet I can tolerate with Vauban. But I'm so happy with the aesthetics of this new release. The Saren Prime Access with Saren Prime, I thought Saren Prime looked not great. There were certain parts of her design that I liked, but the tentacle shoulders and the giant Orokin head spike dildo with the Orokin dick piercing at the end of it looked fucking hideous. And I thought that's not traditional Prime design. And I don't know, I guess maybe they were trying something new and something different, and personally, I don't feel like it worked. So that's totally derailing what I was saying about Vauban. But, I'm just very glad aesthetically that they made the choices that they did with Vauban Prime, the Stiletto Prime, and the Fragor Prime. Now, some other stuff in update 18.12 that was very interesting is that Bounce got reworked. Vauban himself didn't get a complete rework. It was just more of a revision to one of his skills. His 2 ability, which was Bounce. Basically, you throw a grenade, and it makes a little bounce pad. When an enemy or you run over it, it bounces you into the air. It's about as useful as Super Jump was on Excalibur, aka not very useful. And it wasn't very useful even before Parkour 2.0, and since the release of Parkour 2.0, I think it's just a bad ability. It's not good. So they decided to rework it to function to be more like Avara's #1 ability. So now you have 4 different grenades to cycle through on your 2. You still have Bounce, which I like, because, I don't know, Bounce was a fun ability. It was just not practical. You could troll the enemies, you could troll your teammates a little bit. It was a fun ability. It's not, like I said, it's just not practical. But you still have it. You also have a trip laser, which it basically creates a horizontal laser that will trip enemies. That's all it does. No damage, no status effects as far as I've seen. It's not the worst grenade I could have, they could have come up with, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there could have been something better, maybe, I don't know. The third ability, the third grenade on Vauban's new 2 ability, which is called Mine Layer, by the way, is Shred. It throws a grenade down that flings enemies backwards while ragdolling them and strips away armor in the process. Now, this obviously is going to be more useful against Grineer and against robotics, against enemies that actually have armor. Flesh enemies and shield-based enemies aren't going to be... This isn't going to be as effective way to deal with them. But man, against those Grineers, it's not half bad. It isn't half bad. Now, the fourth and final grenade for Mine Layer is Concuss, which it's a landmine. It's a grenade that makes it confuses and deafens enemies in the radius. It's not bad. It's basically a concussion grenade or a flash. I guess technically flashbangs and concussion grenades are different, but it's not bad. It definitely adds a lot of variety into Vauban's build. I wouldn't say any one of those new grenades are worth building Vauban around completely, but if you're building for, another one of his abilities and one of those new grenades happens to benefit, then that's good. And it does add a little bit of variety to his kit, and it does change it up enough that I enjoyed playing Vauban and experimenting around with these new grenade / mines. I'm not sure why they call them mines. They're clearly grenades, but whatever. That being said, the only other major change in update 18.12 was the change in some mod descriptions. Some mod descriptions have been reworked a little bit to basically remove overly lengthy descriptions and kind of cut down descriptions to be just as straightforward as possible. So there's less confusion and more just... They're more concise and easier to understand, especially for new people. Because the example on the Warframe forum is Convulsion, which reads 90% extra electricity damage. That's the old description. When I first started playing, I assumed your gun had to deal electric damage in order to get any use out of that. I didn't realize that it just added 90% of your base damage as additional electric damage. I was new. I was stupid. What can I say? But now the new description reads simply 90% Thunderbolt electricity symbol electricity, which I think is a lot more clean. It's a lot more simple, and I think people will have an easier time, especially newer players, just saying, "Oh, I wonder what what." I guess 15% at base level, 15% electricity does. They throw it on their gun, they realize it's, just 15% more damage through electric. So, I don't know. I think it's a good change. I think right now, modding and mod descriptions are one of the biggest hurdles for new players. I think that is one of the biggest things I feel like people spend the most time on, is figuring out what mods are good, where to get mods, which mods they need on what guns at what times. That's a huge part of this game, and I think it's, personally, maybe I'm wrong, I feel like it's the biggest hurdle to new players. Understanding how weapon damage works and how enemy resistance works and how enemy weakness works and how that is involved with your mods and what damage types are best and what weapons to take on certain missions are all kind of related And the root of that problem, personally, I feel like, is poor tutorial. It's just simply a poor explanation on mods. So I'm hoping that this mod text description overhaul is a first step towards helping newer players get a feel for this sort of thing. But that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry I've rambled on here for about 10 minutes about shit that everyone else has already covered 4 days ago. But thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more Warframe content coming very soon. I promise you, Episode 3 of Warframe Grandpa Edition is coming very soon. I promise. I have everything recorded. I just need to finish it. I love you guys. Have a great day. This has been your host with the most, as always, Francois878.